Good morning, everyone. Where are my forever advance yourself people? You all know how we do this thing. We take it from level to level to level to level. What's going on, inboxers? Everyone that gives me emails all around the world. No, I'm not going live on Facebook. Not this morning. I can always save the video to Facebook. My viewers been asking me when I was going to go live again, but here I am. And this is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Now, something is going on, and a lot of people are upset about it, especially the overtime pay. Do you know that a lot of workers all over the United States of America depends on overtime pay? A whole lot of people, their families, their children, their parents, their elderly, sickly parents depend on that person in that household making additional money through overtime pay, and even some people work on the holidays to get time and time and a half on their jobs. I think that's going to be affected also. But to answer some of your questions, as honestly as I can answer these questions, I don't know what your handbook tells you as an employee. What did you sign when you started to work for the company that you're presently working for? Um, what did you sign in your employee's handbook? I would advise you to go to your human resource department or call human resources and ask that question because let me see, can I answer some of your questions? When President Trump put this information in Project 2025, a lot of people really didn't believe he would do this to the American people in this country. And it's heartbreaking, but it is true. Overtime pay, as you know it, is over with. Uh, a lot of my people that I know and my inboxers, people on the social media platforms, a lot of people are very upset about it, and I can understand why. I can understand why. These people use overtime pay in their monthly and weekly checks to pay bills and to eat. In this time and age when everything is going to go up in the stores because President Donald Trump putting tariffs on goods coming across seas from overseas to the United States of America. That tariff is going to be what the consumer going to have to eat up. The consumer is going to have to pay additional money in the stores now. We think that these prices are high in the stores right now, but we haven't seen anything yet. Unless, like, I was having a discussion with some of my viewers, excuse me, and they were saying maybe President Trump will fool everybody. I sure hope he does. He has the power. He really has the power to fool the entire world and to do something totally different than what people really think they voted him in there to do is to hurt poor people and minorities, which that's so evil, if you ask me, to hurt people that don't have anything already, like the people of North Carolina. Hurricane Helene destroyed their towns and their states and their cities, Chimney Rock, all those people. What you think about those people? And anyone in the state of Georgia, Hurricane Milton, all of these natural disasters wipe these people homes out. What do you think is going to happen to them? With President Donald Trump even going to dismantle FEMA? But if he dismantle FEMA, what you going to do if you lose everything in a natural disaster of wildfire, a flood, hurricane, tornadoes? What will you do? Is he going to put something in place that's better than FEMA? Will he be putting something in place better than the Department of Education? You know, your children, how they going to get educated? if Project 2025 does away with Department of Education. People, I can't answer all the questions on this video. I'm not going to be before you very long. I just want to bring it to your attention. You asking me questions about overtime pay. Overtime pay, as you know it, is over with. Overtime pay is finished. You will not be getting paid overtime any longer. And I want you to see something, listen to this video. Uh, from what I know, uh, from what I know, say for instance, you working for a company and you used to making overtime, and you work overtime on purpose because you know there's things you want to do. The holidays coming up, and look what he does right before Thanksgiving and Christmas, and the first of the year. Look what he does to people. Look what he has done to you. Look at what he has done to you. I'm not saying me because I'm not working right now, and I never have worked overtime. I never have worked overtime, but how could he do something like that right before the holidays to people? That's something we really need to think about. But I can imagine if you're a billionaire and a millionaire, you know nothing about going hungry. He knows nothing about being hungry. His children, they know not anything about being hungry, getting the lights cut off, not even having transportation or clothes to put on. I'm just saying, see a bug flying around, a gnat or something, probably after these apples and things I have on the table. But if someone has that type of money, they're rich and making six-figure a digit income per year, they don't know about struggling. They don't know what people go through, the majority of the population. And here it is, he has taken overtime from the people that look forward to doing overtime right before the holidays. So even when the holidays roll around and they work on that holiday, they will get time and a half for working because they're trying to save money, probably to pay a house note, a mortgage, a car note, tuition, and people can be happy about someone losing that for their children and their families. No, I'm not happy about that, and I never will be happy about anything like that that will hurt a human being that's already poor in poverty. I never let the Lord see me laughing about that, because if you're laughing about it, and you clapping your hand about what is going on in this presidency and how the president is doing people really wrong through Project 2025, I would advise you not to be laughing about it, because you better read the Bible about the poor people. How he will visit that upon you and your family one day. You don't believe it though, do you? I do. I wouldn't laugh too much about what has happened, because there's a scripture in the Bible that tells you and I that don't be so happy about something when you don't know if the Lord has forgiven that person for what he or she has done. And you still messing with that individual, still joking and making fun of this group of people and saying, good, goody, 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 good for you. You did wrong or whatever. But there's a scripture that says that the Lord forgave that person, or the Lord has forgiven the groups of people. I'm looking off like that because I'm just looking off. And he has forgiven them, but you're still laughing at their calamity and what they're going through because overtime pay has been taken from people that are already poor. The word of God lets me know, is saying you better be very careful about laughing at them and being happy that they have lost overtime pay from their payroll, from their paychecks. They eat off of overtime pay. Oh, but you don't care about that. That's what I'm talking about. What you better be careful about. If the eyes of the Lord look at you and your family, he may take everything from you with a natural disaster, or me. We have to be very careful. He may do things that you have no control over just because you're mocking people that have lost overtime pay. That's not funny. I don't think it is because they suffering now because of it. Now, let me let you look at something. Uh, let me see, can I do this? I want to show you something. Just a minute. I want to share my screen for a moment. And this here person is talking about overtime pay, and I want you to listen to it. I just want you to listen to this particular video that I have up about this gentleman telling you about what has happened to people when it comes to their overtime pay. Okay? Let's just see here. Let's see. Here we go.
A Trump-appointed judge, U.S. District Judge Sean Jordan, sided with the state of Texas and a group of associated business industries to kill an overtime rule put in place earlier this year by President Biden's Department of Labor. This overtime rule would have extended overtime pay to 4 million salaried workers here in the United States. And this one MAGA judge, because of the lawsuit from Texas and, of course, the business groups that don't want to pay their workers living wages, it's dead. You cannot force these companies to pay overtime to these workers. Now, you can still, by the way, force them to work overtime. You just don't have to pay them time and a half. Here's what the rule from the Biden administration.
Did you hear that? Did you hear? I'll take you back to the video in just a moment. But I want you to be aware of what the gentleman just said. They've taken the overtime pay from you. You will not get overtime pay anymore. But that's what I was telling you. You need to read your handbooks, employees' handbook, to see what your company is saying about overtime. Are you required to work overtime anyway? And you signed that you would work overtime. And I believe that's what a lot of companies want to do. That's how these companies are going to save a lot of money off the sweat and tears of their employees working overtime. And the gentleman on the video just laid it out that you will not get overtime pay, but your company may be able to force you to work overtime. And I'm sorry, right before the holidays. It doesn't matter if it was right before the holidays or not. I'm telling you right now, I'm sorry for what has happened to you and your family in this season, in the year 2024, Project 2025, and all those small prints where people can't read and don't read and what they're up against and what we're up against, the whole world. I'm talking about this country, the United States of America. Let me go back to the tape. And like I said, sorry about that. Just a minute.
Again, earlier this year, did. It actually raised the threshold for who among salaried workers gets overtime pay. Right now, that threshold is a little over $35,000. So if you make under $35,000 a year and you're salaried and you work overtime, the rule says you got to pay time and a half. They raised the threshold to $43,888 a year. And by raising it by that $8,000 a year, 4 million more salaried workers would have gotten overtime pay for the overtime that they're already working. And then next year, it would jump up to $58,656 a year, which means millions and millions more workers would be eligible for overtime pay next year. Because this judge sided with these businesses to kill this rule, Millions of people will now still be working overtime. They just won't be paid time and a half. And the argument is absolutely ludicrous. Here's what they argued. The Labor Department exceeded its authority when it finalized a rule earlier this year to significantly expand overtime pay for salaried workers, ruling that the department could not prioritize employee wages over job duties when determining eligibility. Now, I don't even know what that means. But what's hilarious about this is that we already had the threshold. All they did was raise the threshold. So the threshold, the 35,000, is still in place. So why is 35,000 okay, but 43,000 is not? Right? See, your legal argument actually doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Not that I'm saying I want you to go back and get rid of the threshold altogether, but how can you say that one threshold is no, but other threshold is yes? Like they have the authority to do this one, but totally can't do this one. That doesn't make any legal sense at all. But I want to explain something to people. This was a Trump-appointed judge. Millions of people in this country just went to the polls and voted for Donald Trump because they thought he's going to help my ego.
Okay. I just want to say something about what the gentleman was talking about. From how I'm understanding what he's saying, it's almost like a family, let's say a family of about 5 people, maybe they're making like $30-some thousand a year. And I'm just saying this, I may be wrong. Go back, look at the video, look at other videos, or look at the news. Study for yourself. Study for yourself to find out what exactly is going on here. But what my take is on it is that a family, let's say of 5 people making 35,000 or whatever the man said, overtime, this individual won't be able to get any overtime even if they're on salary. Even if they're a salaried worker, they will not be able to get any overtime, but their company can make them work overtime without getting overtime paid. And think about that. And then they say raise the threshold up to what? Was it 50-some thousand, 40-some thousand? If that person that falls in that category has a family of 5, let's say a family of 3, it doesn't matter. That threshold of workers would be able to still get overtime pay? Is that what he's saying? Rewind it and listen to it. Because if that is what he's saying, it's to hurt poor people. It's really to hurt poor people that's down at the bottom where they're not making $40,000 a year or more. Why take overtime pay from them, but force them to work overtime? One moment, I'll be right back. Think about it. I'm back. No, think about that. Just think about that. It's not something that you really want to believe is happening in 2024, and it's a president of the United States of America that's doing this to us because he got voted in to do this to us. Okay, I'm going to let the gentleman continue to speak, but I would say for you to rewind it, you have to find out for yourself exactly what has happened to you and check your employee's handbook to See what you can do about it. I don't know what that will be, though. All right, let's get back to it.
Economic situation, right? Donald Trump is going to make things better. I'm going to have at all.
I took it back a little bit.
But I want to explain something to people. This was a Trump appointed judge. Millions of people in this country just went to the polls and voted for Donald Trump because they thought he's going to help my economic situation, right? Donald Trump is going to make things better. I'm going to have more money. This is what you get from Donald Trump. These are the types of judges he puts in place. Judges that will side with businesses every single time they get the chance. And they just screwed millions of people out of overtime. Workers would have gotten overtime pay for the overtime that they're already working.
I have to rewind.
And then next year, it would jump up to $58,656 a year, which means millions and millions more workers would be eligible for overtime pay next year. Because this judge sided with these businesses to kill this rule, millions of people will now still be working overtime. They just won't be paid time and a half. And the argument is absolutely ludicrous. Here's what they argued. The Labor Department exceeded its authority when it finalized a rule earlier this year to significantly expand overtime pay for salaried workers, ruling that the department could not prioritize employee wages over job duties when determining eligibility. Now, I don't even know what that means. But what's hilarious about this is that we already had the threshold. All they did was raise the threshold. So the threshold, the 35,000 is still in place. So why is 35,000 okay, but 43,000 is not? Right? See, your legal argument actually doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Not that I'm saying I want you to go back and get rid of the threshold altogether, but how can you say that one threshold is no, but other threshold is yes? Like they have the authority to do this one, but totally can't do this one. That doesn't make any legal sense at all. But I want to explain something to people. This was a Trump appointed judge. Millions of people in this country just went to the polls and voted for Donald Trump because they thought he's going to help my economic situation, right? Donald Trump is going to make things better. I'm going to have more money. This is what you get from Donald Trump. These are the types of judges he puts in place. Judges that will side with businesses every single time they get the chance. And they just screwed millions of people out of overtime pay. Millions of people will lose thousands of dollars because of Donald Trump's decisions. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. We got fresh content.
Okay. How do you feel about that, losing your overtime pay? How do you feel about losing your overtime pay and possibly having to be forced to work overtime anyway at the company that you work for, without that company paying you any additional money to work extra hours? Apparently, President Donald Trump feel like that's fair for people to have to do that, and companies holding on to probably millions of dollars now, making them richer and richer, making you, me, and everybody else that's working and having to be forced to work overtime just feel bad. If you ask me, you're going to feel bad having to work by force. Or what you're going to do, quit your job? If you go to another company, they're still not going to pay you overtime, but you may be still forced to work overtime and not get paid. I think that's really, really, really sad. I'm sorry. I think that's so sad and so horrible that any human being, I don't care what your socioeconomic status is, it seems like if you so rich and you got millions and billions, To me, seem like you would try to help the less fortunate. Shouldn't it be like that? Shouldn't it be like that? I'm asking a question. He's a president. How come he's not willing to help everybody? When the only thing he have to do is push a pen and sign off on something, send it through Congress, because he owns all the branches. He owns he's over the Senate, the judicial branch, executive branch, and the legislative branch. It helped people. It is simple as that, to help people. Now, guess what? This country is getting ready to start doing protesting, probably going to get violent. People going to be protesting for wages and overtime. Give us back our overtime, and they probably are not going to get it back. Companies may have to close their doors if workers quit the jobs. They start striking because the companies taking their money. But what I believe companies could really do if they would care about their workers, listen to what I'm saying. If companies really care about workers, they'll say, forget that stuff that this president is trying to put hardship on all these people right before the Thanksgiving holidays and Christmas. And I'm going to continue to pay my workers their time and time I have. They've been doing a good job. They're good people. They're good workers. They're hard workers. They're taking care of their families. And I'm going to keep on paying them because I just want to do the right thing in this season. Forget about what he's saying. I'm talking about business owners now and company owners. Okay, but here we go. This is where the rubber meets the road, people. When these businesses, they look and they say, oh, wow, Donald Trump going to save me so much money. I don't have to pay time and time a half to these people anymore, and they're going to have to work. No, they don't, business owners. No, they don't. No, they don't. And it's not even fair that somebody probably been at your company for 15 and 20 years getting ready to retire, and you'll by force make them still work overtime without paying them. And you know they want to stay there because they're getting ready to retire. Some are going to take early retirement just to get away from that type of unfairness. It is unfair. It really is unfair to force somebody to work at your companies and not pay them overtime paid. And if you want to make them work overtime, just let them do their 40 hours and let them go home. At least give them a choice. But I believe a lot of workers are going to be threatened with firing. If you don't stay here until 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to have to fire you. But these people used to working time and time and a half. You know, if they're making $20 an hour, if they work overtime, they'll be making like $30 an hour, right? It's $20 an hour plus half of 20 is 10. They'll be making $30 an hour. And that's very attractive to workers that want to make some extra money. $30 an hour because they working overtime and they love working overtime because they're making money. It's just going to be a lot of depression and mental illness going up on the rise because these people are really going to feel bad behind this. They're really going to feel bad about it. And how could you make fun of them? How could you as a human being, I don't care what color you are, how can you make fun of somebody that just lost their money from a company that's probably making billions of dollars and they don't want to pay overtime? See, you're working for a company that didn't want to pay you no extra money anyway. Let me say it again. Most likely you working for a company that didn't want to pay overtime anyway because they have a right to continue to pay you overtime. And you should ask that question. Are you all going to pay overtime? Or are you going to just say, no, we can't have overtime now because the president appointed the judges that's going to be on his side, most likely. Judges are going to be about the agenda of Project 2025. And that overtime pay issue was in the manual. It is in the manual from Project 2025. And see, you all didn't even know it. And what make you feel so bad? You voted for this to happen to you and your family. Even the Latinos voted for this deportation to happen to them and their families. And they're like they didn't even know that's what it was all about. They voted. Everybody that voted for Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, you voted to have your health care taken from you. Your Medicaid, your food stamps, SNAP, Social Security, disability, all of it, veteran benefits. That all of that is in the dismantling of the Constitution in Project 2025. And if you didn't read it, I'm sorry. I didn't read all of it, but it all boils down to who you voted for. And that just make you feel like a sucker right there, boy. That make a person feel like a real sucker. And you voted for somebody that's taking everything from you and your family. Really? And you didn't know it. Wow. If that's not brainwashing and something going on with the psychology of a person's mind by listening to what a person is saying, I don't know what it is, and I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for the family and the children that's going to probably go hungry. Going to go hungry because of this. Bills won't get paid like they usually are getting paid in a household because of this. Overtime pay. Overtime pay is very important to families. Overtime pay is very important to people, livelihoods. They get excited when their boss say, you want to work overtime? Some people may just go home after 8 hours a day. But if some people will stay and they'll work an extra 5 and 6 hours into the wee hours of the night sometime, but they know that they're leaving there with probably $200-300 extra dollars in their pockets. And they're happy about doing it. Now what's going to happen? So you have to be careful about who you vote for. This may teach you a lesson for all the days of your life to read, understand what you're doing. Do not listen to your buddy, your family member telling you about what somebody's about when they're not about it, or when she's not about that, and they lie on people and say they for this and they're for that, and they're not for any of that trash that people saying they're for, just to make you not vote for that person. Then you vote for somebody that's destroying your entire family. You vote for someone that destroys your entire livelihood, your family, take all your federal assistance from you, take food stamps from you, because he said he's going to do it. Social Security get taken or dismantled or uh, cut back where you're not getting anything to live on, and you got old people you're taking care of, mothers and fathers, and you voted for somebody that's going to do that to your mom and dad. You're not going to have anything, no food on your table. Can't work overtime. You can't make no extra money. Come on. That's some bunch of bull crap right there. That's what it is. It's not a bunch of bovine feces. That's all it is. And you left at the end of the totem pole already, trying to make the poor people suffer even more so. And don't forget about this deportation that he's going to do and how unstable this country is already. Let me show you something about being unstable. I want to show you something about how America was only trying to help. I'm through with the overtime pay. That's a done deal. That's a done deal. That's over with. Now you have to decide what else you're going to do in your life to make money. Maybe you can start something and become self-employed on the side. You're going to have to do something different because you can't pay your bills now. And the companies, if they're for it, it's going to save them money. They may just tell you, well, you can stay here, and I still need you to work overtime this weekend for about 5 hours, but I can't pay you. They done passed that law now, and I can't pay you, but you can stay and work. Well, ain't that a bunch of bull crap? That's what you up against. It's all right for you to work those extra 5 hours overtime, but you get not one red penny for working it. And then you have to make a decision to do that trash, working like a dog, or lose your job. If that's not stressful and cause people mental illnesses, I don't know what this country is turning into. And I'm sorry, but I'm through with the overtime issue. It is what it is. It's true. That judge that uh, Trump appoints judges that's for him and the Project 2025 agenda. Those judges are for Donald Trump and the Project 2025 agenda. And the ones that did not know that, and you all emailing me and texting me now, I'm sorry. That's what you voted for. And yeah, it makes you feel like a damn fool, doesn't it? It should. And it makes you feel bad, but you voted for that. And you didn't know what you was voting for. Everybody tried to tell you, maybe your family members that you don't fell out with now. You're not even speaking to your family members now because of a decision you made. You made that decision. You live with it because you made it. Enough of that. It took your overtime from you. That's all the thing I can say. This president took your overtime from you, took your money that you feed your family with from you, and you can't get it back. You can't get it back. And they had promised us that we was gonna. Elon Musk said we're gonna have some real hard times to begin with. And he's laughing about it because he's a filthy billionaire. The billionaires don't give a crap about the poor people. And he talking about, oh yeah, it's gonna be hurt. It's gonna be kind of painful in the beginning. Oh really? That's supposed to be real funny to people. Well, a dictator, that's the way they roll. This is how we roll. You didn't know that. That's how dictators and oligarchs roll. They got that money. Care nothing about taking your overtime from you. Because most of the time, people that work overtime are people that's struggling. But that's what he wants to do, to make you feel bad and hurt you worse. That's horrible. And I'm sorry it happened, but here we go. Let me move away from the overtime pay has ended for workers. And let's talk about the trouble that's brewing on the horizon, something that you probably don't even know about. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen again. And I want to just share something that Russia threatened to bomb the U.S. base in Poland. Yeah, that's on the news. And that's why I pulled videos up to share with you all so you all can know that what I'm saying is true. But I think this is a news article on, okay, let's see. This is a news article, I do believe. So let's go back here. Let's look at something. How you all doing today? Let's try to make the best of it. Don't feel too bad. Let's just do what we can do. Okay, this is from the UK, the United Kingdom. Uh, www.mirror.co.uk. Russia threatens to bomb U.S. base in Poland after unleashing the ICBM arsenal for the first time. Ukraine has said an intercontinental ballistic missile was fired by Russia with Dnipro as a target. That target is in Ukraine. And now Vladimir Putin is threatened to hit the United States air bases in Poland with advanced weapons. What in the world do you think is getting ready to happen now? What do you think is getting ready to happen now, people? What you think getting ready to happen? I'll give you a few seconds to think about what I just read to you. The date is correct, November the 21st, 2024. Let me read it again. In the event you do not know how to read, but you listening closely to me. Listen up. Ukraine has said an intercontinental ballistic missile was fired by Russia with Dnipro as a target. And now Vladimir Putin is threatened to hit United States air bases in Poland with advanced weapons. What is he talking about, advanced weapons? Advanced weapons, I hope that he changes his mind about hitting United States air bases in Poland. I damn sure hope he changes his mind about bombing anything within the NATO reach and think NATO going to sit back and let them do it. Because it'll be a mistake if they sit back and let Vladimir Putin do that. and not strike back. So we're in trouble. Everybody in trouble with this here administration. Everybody's in trouble, 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 war, fighting and killing and protesting and marching. All kind of crap getting ready to happen in this place. And it's going to be fighting on the streets here too in America. And he's going to pull the National Guards out to shoot people. Because that's what he wanted, militarize the National Guard against American citizens. Yeah, President Donald Trump wants to militarize the National Guard and the Army against American citizens if we are protesting on the streets for better conditions now. And if he doesn't like it, he's going to call the National Guard in to round people up and put them in jail. But that's what you voted for. And that's who you voted for. And no one can tell you any difference. Okay, live with it. Okay, Russia has threatened to hit U.S. air bases in Poland with advanced weapons after Ukraine said Putin's army had fired an intercontinental ballistic missile targeting Dnipro. If confirmed that the missile sent into the central eastern part of Ukraine was an ICBM, it would be the first time such a weapon has been used in the war. Now Moscow said that the opening of a U.S. ballistic missile base in Ryzikovo in Poland would increase the overall level of nuclear danger, with the location now on a list of Russian targets. Well, come on, baby, because these NATO countries not afraid of you, Vladimir Putin. No one's going to be afraid to fight, and no one's not going to be afraid to shoot. As other countries looking at America and America looking out for other countries, Russia looking at other countries. I think Russia has 10,000 North Korean troops on their grounds in Russia right now. So what you think he's getting ready for? He's getting ready for it anyway. He's prepared for it anyway. All this trash started happening because of what? Give you something to think about. Do you have your passport? I've been asking this question for 4 years now. Do you have a passport, or have you just sit back and played patty cake with the government and you thought everything was going to be fine and dandy? See, rich people can get up and leave the United States just like that, and they can be in another country overnight. Just like that. But do you have any money in the bank? Do you have a passport? Do your children have a passport? When something pop off and you hear it in the news, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What if he threatened to send a missile over here in the United States to hit Washington, D.C.? What you gonna do? You better look at the military bases and all the states that he got in mind that he's targeting right here in the United States of America. Fort Worth, Texas. What? Oh, you didn't know that? Well, I didn't know it either until I started researching it. Some places in California. Look at the map. Google it. I'm sorry. This is the time we're living in. And you need to get your passport. If you get scared and you feel like you need to get away, you got to get away. But see, money is the problem. That's why a lot of people got killed and a whole lot of stuff. You think about all these hurricanes that came through different places in Louisiana. All of man, I tell you, when you don't have no money, you have no way to run and get away from a place. When you got that money, you care nothing about poor people that cannot move. They said, well, I'm just going to leave them because you know what? They're going to send a bomb over here. Don't you know certain people going to get firsthand knowledge about stuff before you even hear anything about it? Don't you know the government going to know about something before you and your family know anything about it? And by the time we find out, it's going to be too late almost to even move and get on a plane and get out of here. And I'm not trying to make you fearful. It is what's going to get ready to happen here in this country. They're already fighting. Already a bunch of wars going on and war talk. But listen, this is just enough for you to understand that what's in the news is some dangerous stuff. I'm going to read just a little bit more, and you need to do your research I don't care what you say. You can sit back and laugh about it. And oh, yeah. Everybody was talking about Kamala Harris and made her such a bad candidate for to vote for and didn't vote for her. But look what you voted for. That's what I'm looking at all over America. Look who you voted for and what you really voted for. You voted against your own self. What you gonna do? How you gonna go to the doctor if he take your health care from you? How you gonna go to the doctor and your parents gonna go to the doctor if he take away Medicare? What you gonna do then? What we gonna do then? But always remember that's who you voted for, and that's who you wanted to be president. He's president now. He's telling everybody to kiss his ass. That's what he's doing. He got his whole butt open up to you and your family. Talk about now, you sucker, kiss my ass, and that's what he's saying. Because he's calling all the shots and he's taking everything from people. Now, if he do a reversal, which I'm praying he does a reversal and treat people right in this country. But he getting ready to deport the Latinos that voted for him too. And y'all thought y'all was doing something real smart and pretty and good because you say you're not black and that you're going for white. Oh well, be white then. And you voted for him, and now he's saying he finna deport y'all. Load you up and take you to a damn concentration camp. Where you think he's gonna take you? He's not gonna take you to the Taj Mahal. What you think he's gonna? What you think he's gonna eat? Your children and everybody in there. It's gonna be millions of you packed in some damn concentration camp, and you're gonna sit back and you're gonna be led to the slaughter just like that, with your hands up and with your children. You're just gonna go freely. That's what I'm talking about. Let me read just a little more, but you need to study. But you should have been doing your studying and your reading before you voted. We should have been doing studying and reading before we cast our vote. The next time you need to read before you vote. This is just a lesson for it. It's just a lesson for the entire world. Learn how to read. If you do not know how to read, go to meetings, sit down, listen to what's going on, go online, click on this thing here on your screen. It's a microphone, and they'll read the news to you. It's a microphone. I think it's right here. Read aloud this page. Read aloud this page. If I click here right now, it's a letter A. And if I click on it, listen. All right, people. That's it for me. I just wanted to show you that there's a icon in the top right of my computer, and I have a Dell laptop. It has a letter, capital letter A, with some parentheses around it. You click on that if you cannot read, or you really, or if you can't read something. If you click on that on your laptop and on your computer, you can hear the reading back of the news that's on your screen. And you can sit there and you can listen to the news and you can hear what's happening, even if you cannot read. Where am I forever advancing yourself, people? You all know how we do this thing. We take it from level to level to level to level. Once again, I'm sorry for the workers that have lost their overtime all over the United States of America. It's not a good feeling. I don't even work overtime, but I feel bad for you all right now, right before the holidays. Food prices are skyrocketing, everything is high, and they pick a time like this to take your extra money from you. And that's really low down and it is dirty. I don't care what color you are. Trump doing that to poor people and struggling middle class people is dead wrong. It's wrong. And I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Peace. I'm out of here.